Students, Logan Phillips here. This is the guided projects instructions for our computer concepts class of Simnet 2016. All right, so we're going to be looking at, we've done the Microsoft Word guided project 1-2, and we'll look at next the MS Excel guided project. So let's go ahead and open it up, get to our files, and figure out what we are going to be working on today. So we're in a Simnet class. If you're in any of my concepts class, all of my projects are the same. So you should be seeing the same exact list no matter what class it says you're in up top, as long as you're in my Microsoft concepts. So let's go ahead into the projects on the left-hand side, and let's go find Microsoft Excel and the very first guided project. So we have guided project 1-3. So we're going to download a couple files for the guided project 1-3. We're going to open up the instruction file, and you can either be using Microsoft Office 2013, 16, or the Office Mac 2016. What you cannot use to complete these is Office 2010 for Mac or PC or any older version of the Office software. If you're a TCC student, TCC does give you free versions of the Office software for both Mac or PC, so make sure you go and get the newest version. And we're also going to start and download our official start files. These are the beginning files required to complete the assignment. Now I'm on a PC, I'm using Office 2016, so I'm going to download that. And I'm also going to download the Office start files. And I'm going to open up both of these. There we go. Now, here's our instructions. These are the ones I'm going to be working on. I would suggest you download and print them off, keep them with you, because you will not be seeing my instruction file through this video. You'll have to have your own copy of it, and I will try to read out what step I'm on as we're going through this. So let's just hide that over to the end of the screen. And here's our start file. Now, we'll give you a warning, same warning I always give on the Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Access, PowerPoint, Word. If you download something from online, it's always going to disable the editing, and it's going to disable the macros and everything else. You can get viruses, you can get malicious software installed on your computer if you install documents and stuff from non-trustworthy sites. Hopefully you trust me, so let's go ahead and enable editing. So this is guided project 1-3 for Microsoft Excel 2016. We're going to do some skills in this project. We're going to open and save a workbook. We're going to change zoom size and remove a split. We're going to freeze some panes. We're going to format labels and values. We're going to use a fill handle to copy a formula and fill a series. We're going to check our spelling. We're going to apply a workbook theme, cell styles, and font attributes. We're going to merge and center our labels. We're going to insert a column, adjust column widths and row heights. We're also going to adjust alignments, indents, borders. We're going to rename a sheet tab, and we're going to use the page layout view to insert a footer. So hopefully you've watched the instructional video on an introduction to Excel, so you know the basic layout of the ribbon, the tabs, the zooms in the bottom left, and that our Excel is made out of our columns and rows, and where they meet is a cell. And we can put things in like words, text, numbers, or formulas inside any given cell. All right, so what we have here is a little bit of a weird view going on, where we have multiple sort of books open next to each other, and we're on sheet 1. So let's go through here, and we're going to start with opening it up, making sure everything's saved where we want. Now, my first step is always to save it onto my desktop. You don't have to do this. So I'm going to hit the file, I'm going to choose Save As, and I'm going to choose to do this on my desktop. It's just a little bit easier for me to work from there. And I'm going to choose Save. Now, what you should see at the top is your name and the name of the assignment. If you've downloaded this from some other website and you're trying to turn in someone else's work, realize that the site will allow you to turn it in, but it will alert me that you've stolen someone else's work or you've plagiarized, and it can cause you to get an F in my class, get removed from my class, and get removed from the college, and cost you financial aid and all kinds of hardships. So you're paying for the class. Make sure you're doing your own work. You're here for the knowledge. Get the knowledge that you're paying for. All right, so we're on step 2. We're going to remove a split and freeze some panes. So we're going to click the split button, which is on the View tab in the Windows group. So let's go over here on the View tab, top on the right, and we're going to go into the Windows group, and we have here a split, a hide, freeze panes, range all. Let's just click on and remove that split. So we've gotten rid of the split. The splits are normally useful if you're trying to compare information on two screens, or you don't have a split screen, or you're really wanting to compare data and information inside of a worksheet. They are very useful. We just didn't want it where we're working right now. Next, we're going to click on cell A4. Now I'm going to choose to jump straight to A4 by using the address bar. So let's just click on A4. You could also found column A, row 4, and selected the cell. And we're going to choose to click cell A4 to freeze the column titles into this position. We're going to click on the freeze pane. We're going to go to the View tab, Windows group, and we're going to choose to freeze pane. And from here, we're going to choose freeze panes. There's a solid border between 3 and 4 to mark the pane. So let's go ahead and freeze that pane. Okay, there we go. Now we have a solid line above A4, so when I'm scrolling down, everything of my titles, project ID, project color size, quantity, is all staying the same, where we can scroll through our data without moving our titles. This is really helpful if you have a big long sheet of data, and every time you try to scroll down, your titles go and you don't know exactly what you're looking at. Next from here, we're going to choose to freeze panes. There should be a solid border between 3 and 4, and we're going to scroll to row 31. So let's select cell E31. Let's just go down here, and we got row 31, and we're looking for E31. And let's see. E31, column times 4. We're going to type a 3 inside here, and we're going to change that 0 to a 3. So again, all I did was go to E31. I could have even came up here and typed in E31, jumped straight to it, found it, changed what was a 0 to a 3. Next, we're going to hit the Control and Home button, which is going to take us back up to the very first cell in the data range below the freeze panel. And we're going to return here to cell A4. And we're going to change the zoom size and unfreeze the pane. So we're going to click the 100% button, which is on the View tab, Zoom Group. So it's View tab, Zoom Group. We're going to choose 100%. And we're going to click the Freeze Pane button, which is here in the Windows grouping. And we're going to click on Freeze Pane. And we're going to choose to unfreeze. So now we can move through the data very quickly and easily again. Of course, our titles are now going to disappear. And then we're going to click on cell A1, which I hit Control H to take me back to the very first cell. You can also type it into your address bar, or you can just find the top left corner and hit cell A1. So we've done steps 1 through 3 and 3 through 3A through 3D at this point in time. So we're on to step 4. We're going to check the spelling of this worksheet. We're going to click on cells B4 through B11. So let's go find B4. That should be a rug and hiking boots. And I'm going to hit my shift button because we're connecting cells that are together. And I'm going to hit my right arrow, and I'm going to go through, or I'm sorry, my down arrow. And I'm going to choose to go through B11. And we're going to hit the spelling button, which is on the Review tab, and the proofing group on the left-hand side. And we have some misspelling here. We got rugged hiking boots. Now, most people aren't from the South, and they like to say the words completely, so we're going to add that G in there in hiking boots. And so we're going to choose to correct all. So let's go ahead and hit the change all here. So it's modified and fixed the spelling in all of my rugged hiking boots, but it's only checked the spelling in the one area that I've selected. So Excel's a little different than Word or PowerPoint or those others, where it selects the, you can either do the whole thing or you can do it in a very specific area. Okay, let's go down to step 5. And we're going to use the fill handles to copy a formula. So we need to find cell H4. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to type in H4 and I'm going to go straight to my value. And you can see here in the formula bar, I have a formula of H4 equals E4 times G4. So E4 would be 5 times G4, 46.5. Gave me 232.5. So what I want to do is to copy this formula down through all the other ones so I don't have to sit here and go click, type in equals, blah, 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 because it'll take me forever. So I'm going to use the fill handle, which is in the bottom right corner of this little green box. There's a small filled in green square in the bottom right corner. So I'm going to click and hold on that, and I'm going to drag it down. Or I can also double click on it and have it automatically fill in. And so what you'll see now is E4 equals G4. If I go down to the next one, E5 equals G5, E6 equals G6. It copied that formula down to each one. So if we look here, E7 equals G7. We have 4 times 46.5 equals the 186. 4 times 53.5 equals 214. 3 times 53.5 equals 160. So the formula moved down because we didn't use any absolute references on this. And we're going to hit our Control Home, go back up to our A1 cell. And we are now next on to step 6. And we're going to change how some of this data looks. We're going to click on the Themes button, which is in the Page Layout tab, and the Themes group. So we're going to come up here onto our ribbon, choose Page Layout, and we have here on the left-hand side a Themes group, and we're going to choose the theme of Ion. So we're going to hit the radio button below Themes. We're going to find Ion. It should be in alphabetical order, but it's not always. Sometimes it's in order of last used or most commonly used. So you may have to scroll through to find it, but let's click on Ion when you find it. And then we're going to merge some cells. And so we have these individual cells like A1, B1, C1. What I want now is some mega cells. So I'm going to select cell A1, and I'm going to take this all the way through J1. Now I'm using my left click, mouse, and hold to select these. I could also click on A1, shift button, and arrowed to the right to J1. Now I'm going to go to my Home tab, and I'm going to merge these to one mega cell. So I'm going to come into my alignment group on my Home tab, and I'm going to merge and center. Now I'm going to do the same thing for A2. I'm going to go A2 through J2. Again, I'm using my shift and arrow, and I'm going to merge and center that. So now I have one mega cell, A1, and one mega cell, A2, instead of a whole bunch of small little cells that aren't real useful. Now, from here, we're going to apply the cell styles, and we're going to start adjusting our row heights. And so we're going to select cell A1, which is where I'm at right now, and we're going to click on the Cell Styles button, or the More button, which is on the Home tab and Styles group. So let's go to Home tab. We can come over here to our Styles group, and we're going to choose to make these a special type of style. So in the Styles, we have a little radio button here on the bottom right, which is the More button. And these gives us all of our particular styles. And we're going to choose the title in the Titles and Heading category. So let's go to Titles and Heading category, and we're going to choose Title. Next, we're going to select on cell A2. We're going to repeat the process. We're going to come up here to our Home tab, Styles grouping, the More button, and from here we're going to choose Heading 4. So we have Heading 1, 2, 3, Heading 4. All right, we're on to step 8C at this point. And we're going to click on the Font Size arrow, which is on the Home tab, Font Group. Home tab, Font Group, and we're going to hit this up arrow. And we're going to increase the font size up to a 14 point. Right now it's 11, so let's just hit it a couple times to increase it up to a 14 point. Next, we're going to point the arrow, we're going to point to row 1 heading and drag to select row headings 1, 2. So I know that reads a little funky, but all it's wanting you to do is come up here and click on wherever shoes, click your left mouse button, hold, and select both of the cells together. You could also click over here on row 1 and row 2, selecting both of those, and we're going to change the height of these two rows. And it looks like we're going to change the height to what? Height of 22. So we're going to click on the Format button, which is on the Home tab, and the Cells grouping, and and we're going to change the row height. Row height here. And we're going to do a row height of 22. Again, that was the Home tab, Sales Group, Format, Row Height. Okay, I lost my place a little bit. Next, we're going to select the cells A3. So we have A3, and we're going to go through J3. So let's just use our shift and right arrow, and we're going to select all of these headers, and we're going to format them a little bit. And we're going to change from the Cell Styles group. So we have Home tab, Cell Styles. Let's hit that More button, and we're going to change these to 40% accent 3. 40% accent 3. So that's accent 4 and accent 3. So third column in and second row on themed cell styles. So we have 40% accent 3. Then we're going to apply a bold. So Home tab and the font grouping. Let's click on bold and make these stand out just a little bit more. And we're going to point to the bottom border of the row heading to display the resize arrow. So let's go here over to the row 3, and we have row 3 selected. In between row 3 and 4, if you hover your cursor will change from a pointer to an up-down arrow with a bar in the middle. Left click and hold your left mouse button, and it's going to show you what the height of this row is. Right now it's at 16.5 or 22 pixels. What we want to change this to is 21 or 28 pixels. So let's go drag it down, and we're going to try to get as close as we can. We got 21, which is 28 pixels. And just release your mouse, and it will resize for you. So we've resized this one. Now, if you're really having a hard time, you don't have fine motor skills, or you have some issue going on with your mouse and it's just not working, you can click on row 3, come up to the Format group, and choose to auto fit our row height and change it to a row height of 21. So either one will work, but there's two different ways you can accomplish that task. Next, we're going to go into step 8M, and we're going to zoom out button on the status bar. If necessary, we can see all the rows. Right now, I'd have to scroll down to see all through row 39. So I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to zoom out. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit more. There we go. So I can get all of them into one piece, from cell A1 all the way down to cell A39. All right, so we've completed a few different things. Next, we're going to go into step 9, and we're going to change some alignments here. We're going to format values, we're going to apply some borders, and we're going to increase our indent. So let's go ahead and select the cells D4 through F39. Now, I'm lazy and I like to jump straight to things, so I'm going to type in here into my address bar D4, take it straight to it, and I'm going to use my shift and my left mouse click because I'm going to find the cell F39. So here's F. Let's go down to 39, right there, and click. So if you use your left shift or your shift and your left mouse click, you can actually select a range. Remember, Excel reads always the same way, top left and across all the way down, just like you're reading a book. So the first cell is the first in the top left, the last cell is the bottom right. And we're going to choose for these cells, we're going to center, which is our Home tab, alignment grouping, we're going to choose to center them. Let's see, next we're going to select cells G4 through H39. So let's go up here and I'm going to choose G4. And we're going to select with my shift button and my left mouse click H39. So let's go here, G4 through H39. And we're going to change how these numbers are pointed. And we're going to put them into a counting number format. So here in the Home tab, in the numbers grouping, we're going to choose accounting. And then we're going to click on cells A3. Let's find A3. And we're going to go with A3 through J39. So J39. And shift, left mouse click. So I've selected my entire range. And we're going to put in some borders to cover all this documentation. So we're going to select these cells of B4 through select A3 through J39. We're going to go to the borders drop-down arrow, which is on the Home tab in the font grouping. So you can see here's my borders, and I have a little radio button right next to it called the borders drop-down menu. And from here, I'm going to choose to select and put in all borders. So let's go through here and find the all borders mark. And then we're going to choose the font size, and we're going to change this over to size 12. So here in the font group, I can either hit my up arrow, change it to size 12, or I could have done my drop down arrow and chose a size 12. Either one would have worked. Next, we're going to select the cells where I'm on step 9H of B4. So let's jump straight to B4, because again, we're lazy. I don't want to search. And we got B4, and we're going to go all the way through C39. So right here, C39. And we're going to click the Increase Indent button, which is on the Home tab in the Alignment group. So we have the Home tab, Alignment group, and we have an Increase Indent. So right here we have a Decrease Indent, and right next to it is an Increase Indent. And we're going to choose the Increase Indent one time. So we're just moving it slightly to the right with an indent. And it makes it a little bit easier for reading and that kind of stuff. And what we want to do next is we want to select all the columns from A through J. So let's go up to our tab, our column headers. We're going to click on A. Then I'm going to click my left mouse button, hold, and drag from A all the way to J. So we're on step 9J now, and we're going to double click the borders between J and K to auto fit these headers. So let's go here between J and K, where my cursor becomes the two arrows with a line in the middle, and I'm just going to double click. Now what this does is auto fit to the biggest piece of information in each individual column. That way you don't get that little hashtag or number sign anywhere, hashtag, because the hashtag tells you that something's hidden behind it. Not an error is happening, it's just it can't display everything. So it's only going to show you in a very specific way number symbols or hashtags for our younger students. Next we're going to go to select and center align the labels in row 3. So select and center align the labels in row 3. So let's go ahead and click on row 3. And we're going to select the entire row by clicking on the number 3. And we're going to center align those, which is on the Home tab in the Alignment grouping. All right, we're getting pretty close to finishing. We only got 8 steps or so left. So let's go to step 10, and we're going to insert a column and fill in some data. So we're going to right click the column heading B. So let's go ahead, right click, column heading B. And we're going to choose to insert from the context menu in cell B3. We're going to type disk and press enter. So let's click on column B, right click, and insert. So now we have a whole bunch of a new space to put in some more information in. And we're going to click and insert in the context menu in cell B3. We're going to type in disk with a question mark and hit enter. And cell B4 we're going to type no, B5 we're no, and B6 yes. All right, so let's go ahead into step 10 and 10G. We're going to select cells B4 through B6. So that's stuff we just put in, B4 through B6. And we're going to choose to increase the indent twice on these. So on the Home tab, in the Alignment group, we're going to choose to increase indent 2 times. Next, we're going to select the same cells of B4 through B6, which we already have selected, and we're going to click and double click the fill pointer. And so we can, if you're 2013, you're going to have to click and hold and drag it down. If you're in 2016, you can just double click on the small green box in the bottom right corner, and it will fill in a duplication of that same process over and over again. Next, we're going to select the cells A4 through A39. So let's jump straight through it. A4, and we're going to go down with my shift and left click through A39, so I have all that particular information selected. And we're going to increase the indent 1 time. So Home tab, Alignment group, increase indent a single time. Then let's go ahead and hit Control Home. Go back up to that cell A1, the very first cell in our document, and we're going to rename the Sheet tab. So we're on to step 11 at this point, and down here in the bottom, you can see our Sheet tab is named Sheet 1. That's pretty generic. We want it to be named something a little bit more specific. So we're going to double click where it says Sheet 1, and we're going to change it from Sheet 1 to Inventory. And hit our Enter button. So now our sheet now is named Inventory instead of Sheet 1. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start making this document look a little bit more presentable if we're printing. So we're going to go down to our Page Layout button, which is on the status bar, which is the bottom right corner. We have Normal Layout, we have Page Layout, and we have Page Break Preview. So let's click on Page Layout. So we see how it's going to look if we print it off. And right now it looks pretty terrible depending on how we're printing it. So we're going to have to make that look a little bit better. And we're going to insert a header and a footer by clicking on the center header section. So let's go up here to page 1, and we're going to click on the Add Header, and we're going to type. We have now a Header and Footer Tools tab is now open and workable, and we're going to go to the footer. Let's see. Let's go down here to footer. And we're going to fill in a few different pieces. So let's go down to footer. If we can get it to scroll down a little bit. There we go. Let's go down to the footer in the center. Click on it. And we're going to come up here to design. And we're going to put in some information. We're going to type or click in the file name. So in the Design tab of the Header and Footer Tools that popped up on the left-hand side, we have Footer with a drop-down arrow. And what we're going to put in here is our file name. So my file name is logan.phillips/weavershoes1. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one. And so it's automatically going to fill in my file name. Now if I change my file name, this will update automatically to whatever the current file name is for your file. Let's go back to normal view, bottom right hand corner, and left, and we're going to choose normal view. You can see you can't see the header and footer anymore, but it's still there. So it looks like we've done step 12 at this point. So we're on to step 13, and we're going to change the page setup options. So right now when I'm looking at this, I have this weird dotted line. These dotted lines tell me where the document pages are, how it's going to print. So between this dotted line is one page, we have another page, a third page, fourth page, 5 page. So these dotted lines just tell me where the printing lines are. So we're going to modify this so things look a little cleaner. So we're going to click on the Page Layout tab. So Page Layout tab, and we're going to click the Page Setup button. So let's go here to Page Setup Group, and go down to the bottom right hand corner and Page Setup Dialog Box Launcher. Sorry, I'm tripping over my own words. I've been speaking too long. Let me get a little water here real quick. So we have gone to the Page Setup tab on our ribbon, the Page Setup Group. Inside the Page Setup tab, in the bottom right hand corner, clicked on the Dialog Box Launcher for the Page Setup Dialog Box Launcher. So what we're going to do is we're going to change it from a portrait orientation to a landscape orientation. So now portraits are up and down, landscapes are left and right. And we're going to select the Fit to Radio button and enter our 1 page by 1 page. So we're going to do our scaling. We're going to choose Fit to 1 pages wide by 1 pages tall. And let's go ahead and click OK. You can see the dashes and the numbers have all gone away. We can come over here to our page setup, and you can see that it's all going to fit on one single page. Our document looks a whole lot cleaner for printing at this point. So I'm going to go back to normal view real quick. Next, we're going to set a print area. Now this is the pieces that I want to print. Because Excel is infinite in size, you can have a whole lot of printing, a small printing, but we want to set a very specific one. I'm going to choose cells A1 all the way through K11. K11. There we go. So I'm only wanting to print this one little piece at this point in time. And so let's go ahead to the page layout, and we can choose print area and set print area. So now the only thing that's going to print is that A1 through A11. It will ignore the rest of the documentation. So let's hit our Control Home, go back to cell A1, and go to the File tab, and look at the Print button. So you can see now only a certain amount of data is actually going to be printing. So let's go back to the normal view and check out what's happening. All right, so it looks like at this point in time we are done with this data. So let's go ahead and save it. We can hit the button in the top left. You can hit Control S, or you can come here to Backstage View and save. Either of those work, and we're going to choose to upload this project, and let's see what grade we got. So let's go ahead and save it, minimize it, close it out. Sorry about this, a few things open. And let's go back into our Simnet environment. So we're same place we downloaded our starter files. We're going to choose to upload the file. So let's go upload file, find your Weaver or wherever shoes. Looks like my document. Hit OK. Yes, I'm ready to submit the file. And let's see what grade we got. Now, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I make small mistakes. If we do it, we'll look at it and fix it. So we got 12 correct, 0 partial, 0 incorrect. If you followed this, you would have got 100% on this assignment. Now, you can see any of our incorrects are correct, our incorrects are corrects, our partials on the left-hand side, and how that aligns to the document. All right, guys, I hope this helps. This is Microsoft Excel 2016, the Simnet Guided Project 1-3. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I'm here to help. I'm happy to do anything you need. Next up video will be Microsoft Access 2016 Guided Project. Have a very fruitful day. Bye.